you ready to take your leadership journey to the next level? On the leadership platform TLP, we don't just talk about leadership, we live it. This year, we are bringing you cutting-edge insights, transformative tools, and real-world strategies to help you lead with confidence, purpose, and impact. This year, we have 4 seasons with 50 episodes. We will dive into themes such as leading self, leading others, and leading institutions. We bring you Leaders Are Leaders. This monthly session focuses on book reviews, discussions, encouraging all participants to read along with selected books on personal leadership and professional leadership. We also have a time with the CEO. In this segment, we dive into the stories of prominent CEOs who share their insights, lessons learned throughout their leadership journey. We also bring you extraordinary leadership stories, highlighting individuals in our societies who are doing extraordinary things. This segment inspires viewers with real-life examples of leadership in action. We will bring you some brilliant minds, courageous leaders changing the narrative of Africa. We also bring you finally the expert-led sessions, which cover a wide range of leadership and personal development topics, providing practical guidance and actionable strategies for personal and professional development. The leadership platform is your go-to space for personal growth, professional breakthroughs, and meaningful connections. I am Joy Schmutz, co-host on TLP, and I will see you every Saturday, 7 p.m. GMT, live on YouTube and Facebook. Right. Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Platform powered by CTL Africa Leadership. We're excited to have you again for another edition. This is the 252nd edition of this amazing leadership convening. And today we'll be talking about leading teams with trust and courage. So once you're here, welcome. Just buckle your seatbelt and get ready for another amazing edition. In the comment section, would like you to introduce yourself. Let us know where you are joining us from, which city, which country you're connecting from, and tell us your expectations. We'll be very happy to announce you to the world. And please, one more time, share the stream so that many more can be blessed. You can share. We're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, and we are live on LinkedIn. So go ahead and share the stream so that a lot of your those in your community can be blessed. All right. So today, I don't have Sarah in the studio today. I don't have Uncle Sam in the studio today. They are all on assignment, and you know that once they're out there, they continue to do the good work the Lord has called them to do. So I'll be here. I'm here with our guest speaker, who I'll be introducing shortly. This week, I had a quote from one Dr. Sam Chand, who has been a president of a university in Atlanta. And he said something. This was in relation to church building. But he said, if you're trying to do it yourself, it's too much work. If you want to pay people to do it, it's too much money. And if you want to teach volunteers to do it, it's too much time. So there's a component of leading and doing something amazing, which requires people around you. But sometimes it's either you're going for the money to hire the right set of skills, or you have the time and the patience to groom people to be able to help you with the vision. And John Maxwell also uses this quote, which I think is extraordinary, is one is too small a number to achieve significance. My name is Joy Bonsu Schmutz, and I'll be your host for this evening. All right, so today I'm going to be introducing a man who is no stranger to this platform. He's been here year after year, and CTL and the entire team would like to salute you for your commitment to the course of grooming leaders for this generation and the next. So I'm talking about a man called, popularly known as Chairman, and he's a coach. He's a business development guru. When you talk about building something from scratch, having the right systems and the structure, that is the man that we're talking about. The last time he came here, he used a lot of animals and symbols to help us understand how to have an effective team. And today, I'm sure it's a different dimension altogether. So I'm going to bring Mr. Stephen Essien on stage to join me as he delivers his presentation to us. Welcome, Chairman. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, Joy. Thank you. Excited to be here. It's always joy to meet a joy.
Yes, it's always joy. I love hosting you. Your sessions are always fire. Like they're always
Yeah,
full of powerful
I had an
nuggets.
amazing time. Surprisingly, it's just the same a year ago. I
Mm,
was on, I think, on the 16th of May last year.
wow.
Amazing time. I learned a lot from what I taught, and the
Yes.
feedback was amazing. That was
Yes.
great.
Awesome, awesome. So please, if you're here, please share the YouTube links, share the Facebook link, share the LinkedIn to your community because there's something cooking here that they must be here to listen. All right. So today's topic is I mean, every leader, whether at home, in your small business, your side hustle, how are you doing it? Are you doing it with a team? Are you doing it alone? So today's about leading teams, leading the people that are following that vision that you have, something you're trying to build, you know. But Chairman, just to start off the conversation, I
Right.
mean, you have a very amazing bio, and I would love for you to just talk about what stands out from that bio. I mean, for me, it's the coach parts, as a coach, I'm excited you're in that space. But you tell us a bit about that. But one thing that stood out for me in your bio was your core values, what you stand for. And you said something that it's about the value you contribute. It's not about job seeking. And I'd just
Yeah.
love for you to tell us maybe if there's one experience you had that made you come to that conclusion that significance is all about your ability to contribute and not just, looking for a job. Is there anything you'd like to share with us?
Thank you, Joy. I mean, one time I had a confrontation with my boss or misunderstanding with my boss, and she said, "Sometimes you annoy me, but I can't let you go because you bring value to the table." So that struck me. I was like, okay, in everything, her personal space, whatever is going on with her personally, she didn't like my presence, she didn't like my confidence and everything, but there's value I
Yeah.
put on the table. From that time, I said, anywhere I find myself, whether I'm spending a day or 2 or 3 days or 5 years or 10 years, my
Mm,
job in that business is to bring value.
mm,
Whatever encounter I would have with anybody, I must give
yeah,
value. Whether I'm coaching someone, whether I'm teaching in the classroom, I'm lecturing in the classroom, whether it's just
mm,
a friend that I have that I'm speaking to, I must leave value. So
yeah,
hardly do you get me in a space of people and we're having a conversation and I don't ensure that I'm leaving value before I leave. If
mm,
even I meet somebody, in the airport lobbies and we are talking, I want to add value. It's not just a conversation that we should have. So that's
mm.
moment you're like, okay, everywhere you go, you must leave value on the table. So
Yeah.
my mind just changed and said, when you find yourself in any organization, Stephen, ensure you are delivering value and putting value in front of people.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very powerful way to start this session. It's all about value, and I hope that you have something to write. You have something to take, some points that you can take with you for the rest of the year as we all pursue leadership and pursue our vision. I hope this session will be very impactful to you. So, Chairman, I'm going to leave the floor to you. The audience is ready for you. Please share with us what you have prepared for us. Thank you.
If you can help me get a slice onto the stage. Amazing. Good. So the topic for today, I mean, Joy just mentioned working with teams. It's important to lead with trust, and the key word in here is leading teams with trust and courage. How do we do it? I think this is the most difficult part of leadership. Giving instruction, getting the position, taking the center stage, or being in front is the easiest. But the key one is, how do you lead with trust and courage? How do you lead with trust and courage? We all understand we don't just build teams that will tend to high performance team if they don't trust each other, we don't trust. You can never build team with control. It lasts for a very short time. Building teams that will be successful, building teams that will change the narrative, building teams that will let you fly high must build with trust. It is very important. We know that. These are not just soft skills that we need. These are, should I say, is the hardware of leadership. But most people take it for granted. So today, that's what we want to focus on, right? You can you cannot also in any way have a team, performing well at high level, they sustain performance and everything. You cannot let it happen unless there's courage. You, the leader, must have strong courage and deliver. So today, our time here is going to talk about two things: courage, trust. Courage, trust. That's what we want to do. I believe that every leader's task is to just move people from point one to point B. You ensure that people who are working with you start from point one to point B. You cannot just be a leader and have a flat organization without moving numbers, moving people, moving projects. So the main task for me as a leader is getting people from somewhere they are to a place they've never been before. That is what leadership means to me, right? There are three things which I'm going to talk about: how to build trust in modern teams. One is be able to have a clear direction, define destination clearly. Your job is to define destination, where they're going. A leader sees further than just the ordinary person following. So your job, if you form any team, first thing you need to do is clear conversation on where they are going, what they are supposed to do, how to find the space where they are in, and you must be the one to define that. It's always difficult for us to see success if the leader is not able to determine or define clearly where we're supposed to go, right? Another point for leadership is mobilize the people. A good leader is someone who can mobilize people, who can get different types of people or different parts of the team together for one alignment. So as a leader, your job is to also mobilize people, because when you go into any organization as the leader, you are the hiring manager. You need to get the right people. You need to ensure that you have the right fit people into right roles. That's one of the key things as a leader you must do. And the third thing that we want to talk about here is drive execution. You see, defining and mobilizing without driving execution is just a strategy. It's just like you're in the theater and a strategy. But drive means that you track consistently, work with discipline, weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly, reviews to show that you're on course. That's leader. So three things I've mentioned, right? Define destination, mobilize the people and align with them, and then you drive execution relentlessly. These are the three things of leadership. And that's what most of us are employed to do, right? There are one key thing I also want to share with you out of these three things, right? We cannot take anyone out, right? If you're able to define, you're able to mobilize the people, but you take out the drive, right? That's good intention. You have very good strategy on paper, but delivery will be zero. There will be no results, because as human as we are, we need somebody who can drive us. We need somebody who can take us to the next level. The same way, if you have definition and you have drive, and you don't mobilize the people, you don't talk to the people, you don't align with the people, people will be very compliant, but they will never be committed to the cause. They will just do yes, massa. They will just obey you, simple terms, but commitment to deliver the job will not be there. Commitment to deliver the job will not be there. The same way, If you take mobilize and drive without definition, it's like headless chicken. The team has no vision, the team has no focus, the team does not know what to do. So, as a leader, these three components, you can't take one out. You need to ensure that you define clearly. If you form a team or a project team, you are leading a team, every year, you need to ensure you tell them clearly where you're going. Organizations have developed 5-year plan. That's fine. Others have 3-year plan. That's sweet. Others have 2-year plan. That's superb. But every year, when your year starts, other companies' year starts in January, others start in April. Beginning of the year, you need to clearly tell the people where we are going. Plans have changed, or goalposts has changed. This is where we are going. And the second bit is mobilize the people. Mobilize them, and then we move on to the next, which is the drive. So this slide talks about the three components coming together. If you have them well defined, if you have the people mobilized and you have a good drive, there's always that golden spot, the sweet spot, which is in the middle that brings trust. If a leader is able to define where we are going, the people are aligned, the alignment is being able to communicate to them effectively, letting them understand where we are going, and then your job is to drive them. But hear this. There are two forms of driving. You can drive from the front or you drive from behind, where it depends on your style. It depends on your leadership style. It depends on who you are. If you're hands-on, you want to drive from the forward. If you're very strategic and not very, technically inclined with what you do, you drive from the back. Supervision, encouragement, all these things come. So know yourself and get to know whether when it comes to drive, you drive in front or you drive from behind. These are skills that leaders must put in place. When you're able to have that golden spot, that sweet spot, results happen. That's where we realize that the team is aligned. Everybody is clearly, they know their goals, they know their objectives, where they are heading to. Execution is flawless. Everybody's excited. Everybody's running the course. That is what we all want as leadership. So what you need to keep in mind is the three key components, right? The first one is definition, or defining your destination, your objective, your goal, your strategy clearly, aligning and communicating. A leader who struggled to communicate his thoughts, his vision to the team, always struggle to lead the team. You need to clearly show the team where the end result or the end picture of the year, of the projects you're doing or the strategy you're doing, and your job is to encourage them. The drive is encouragement. The drive is putting pressure on people. The drive is making sure that you are consistent with whatever you say. And that is what we need to move on. I want to share some stats. It says that 23% of people, and this survey came from Harvard Business Review in 2022, and it's about 5,500 people. It says 23% of the people they interview say they trust their leadership. Only 23%. This clearly tells us that 77% of the people do not trust their leadership. And that is one of the key things we ask ourselves, or I will ask myself, why is it that people do not trust their leaders, right? Now, let's put some numbers on this, because some might think trust is nice to have. It is never nice to have. You've realized that it's only 23% of employees strongly agree that they trust their leadership. This means that out of every 4 staff that you have, it's only one. It's just 25% that trust their leadership. Another stat shows that in total, when we put things together, this also came from the survey, the loss that happens in organization globally is about 8.8 trillion, just because people do not trust their people. Just because people does not trust their people. And this is a global loss every year on low engagement driven by lack of trust of their leadership. So if you have a team, you need to sense check how many people. If you are below 25%, then you are below the world's threshold. How can I make sure that 25% of the people I work with trust me? Employees who trust leaders are 5 times more likely to stay than anybody who doesn't trust their leadership. And it's very simple. We've stated a couple of times. People work for leaders. They don't work for organizations. When you go deeper into leadership research, it says people work for organizations, don't work for organizations, they work for leaders. So only 1 in 4 in teams operating with full trust of capacity. The rest, they are just leaving performance on the table just like that. So you need to also take care of it. How do we build trust in teams? How do we build trust in teams? That's the question I keep asking people when I do in-person leadership training. So how do we build it? There are a few pillars that I want to share. These are about 4 key pillars that I want to share, right? Number 1 value that you need to ensure you have is integrity. See, values and ethical conduct are like, you can't do anything about them. You need to ensure that you have integrity. The tables are at stake. Your team is watching every decision you take, you make. If they see your actions, it should match the values. It should match the values. Moment there is a gap, if there's a small gap between what you say or what the thing think about you or your actions, trust gets eroded. Trust gets eroded. Integrity is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Somebody works with you 2 years. In the first 3 months, you're very up and running. Integrity is high, and then he loses out. This does not happen. Integrity, let me say it again. Integrity is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent about the things you do and how you do them. So integrity is one of the values. If you want to build trust with a team, you need to ensure that you have. Number 2 is competence. Demonstrate ability to deliver results. You see, the second value is competence, which is number 2. I love it. Your team needs to believe you can actually deliver results. You don't need to have everything, but you need to demonstrate credibility. You need to demonstrate capability. Leaders who earn trust me, leaders who earn trust are those who know their domain and make sound decisions, and they deliver so well. They deliver to whatever they commit to. So it's not just about, oh, I am the leader of the place. You need to be very competent. You need to be very competent. Either than that, you become very incompetent and you are not able to lead. Perceptions are very large in leadership. So it's a silent killer as well. If everybody sees you to be very incompetent, it's a silent killer. It kills your dream. It kills the entire team. So it's very important you're very competent. And competency doesn't come only from technical skills. Some roles are very technical. The leader might not have everybody's competence together. I lead a team with many different people. I have a very large team. It's not every unit that I have competence. I have technical skills in there, but I have competence of leading them, understanding the key things that need to be done, how to put the team together. It's also very critical. The next is reliability. The third is reliability. It's very simple. It is devastating when it's absent. When it's absent, it's so bad. When you're not reliable, people cannot, trust your word. Your actions do not match your words. You are all over the place. Over time, you will lose trust. Over time, you will lose trust. Every time, you must show up. Reliability is what turns trust, right, from just a feeling to people actually making things happen. So you need to ensure that you are reliable. Consistent actions to your words. I will show up in the morning, you are show up in the morning. I'm show up in the evening, you are showing up in the evening. When the team is on the field, you are there with them. You are very reliable. People trust their leaders who are very reliable, right? This is very debatable. Let me share a story here. I did a presentation sometime back, I think, early part of last year, out of Ghana, Rwanda, I remember, and it's on leadership training. And I was telling the team that leaders must be vulnerable sometimes. And everybody in the room shook their head and no, they will see your weakness. Your team will see your weakness. We don't want the team to see our weakness. No, leaders must admit when there are mistakes. Leaders must admit when they have weakness. Leaders must admit when there are needs. It's very important that we also show. You see, the team can trust us when we like, oh, my hands are up. Today, the decision I took was wrong. Or yesterday, I said something and I think it didn't go down well. It's wrong. Leaders who build deep trust admit mistakes. They also acknowledge their weaknesses, and they always ask for help if they need it. It sounds very counterintuitive. We think strength means, certainty. We think strength means that we know it all. But your team already knows your blind spot. Your team already knows where you're not doing well. So when you pretend that they don't exist, or you don't have fault, or you don't have weakness, then they don't trust you. Then you destroy the trust they have for you. Vulnerability is never weakness. Vulnerability, it is never weakness. It's one of the most courageous acts of leadership. Let me say it again. It is one of the most courageous acts of leadership that you lift your hand and say, "As for this, I don't understand. Can we rally around and get to know?" That's one of the key things. So the 4 things I've mentioned is competence, integrity, reliability, and vulnerability. Is where we become vulnerable with our mistakes and learn. Many times I go into organizations, I find the least person in my team or somebody who is not part of leadership to spend time with me. I do remember some organization I went in, I had to start work an hour earlier than everybody and stay an hour past everybody, basically because I wanted to learn something. And it was one young chap in the team who took me through. Eventually, within 3-4 months, I became a master of it. Vulnerability doesn't kill. It is the best thing to do to lead people. If you don't know, you don't know, right? I made a comment here. I said, trust is the glue of life. It's the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It is a foundational principle that holds all relationships. So if your team trusts you, you need to know that you are ahead of the curve. The team must trust you. The team must trust you. I think I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about this if you don't understand that trust is something that we need to ensure that we stay glued to. Let me share some numbers here. Just clearly stated. Facts on leadership trust. If you can read, it is just to tell you how important trust is, right? The data shows that trust actually produces a striking result. 74% of high trust environments report less stress, 50% productivity, not marginal gains. This is 50% have gain as productive. Where there's empathy, people strive 13% of them, or 13 times more, right? So these are key facts. It's not because we want to talk about trust, but as a leader, you need to work tirelessly to make sure that people trust you. You need to ensure that your team trusts you very well. Now, let's talk about leadership. I made mention of trust. Let's talk about leadership. 10 to 15% of the people demonstrates that consistently, if they have leaders who are very courageous, things do happen for them. And these we can find in McKinsey does this survey. I found it very interesting when I read about them. It is very important we have these things started and done for us, right? Another point is the 70% that you see in there. Is the 70% we're seeing in there. It brings transformation. It brings transformation. So if you are very courageous, your decision taking brings transformation. 70% of projects that fail because leaders fear to make decisions. And it's about 70% of them. Leaders fear to make decisions. And it's a clear way to understand that as a leader, you need to be very courageous. I am just imagining an army officer or army commander who has taken people to the field and is not courageous. We need to make bold decisions, clear, bold decisions. Courage enables 5 specific things that I want to talk about. Enables 5 specific things. First one is challenge the status quo. They question what has been done before. You don't just go in there and ask, okay, this is how it has been done. So every year we do the same thing, especially when results are not coming up. Leaders say that you cannot do the same thing always to achieve a different results. So meaning that you need to do different things to achieve different results. So you need to be the leader who challenges the status quo. You need to challenge the norms. You need to challenge how things are being done. You need to challenge, what is being done with that performance. You need, even this performance, you need to challenge and ask yourself, how can we change things? But just bear in mind that you need to be very disruptive, but they are too disruptive, right? Disruptive in bringing productivity, and not too disruptive to just bring the team or just bring the productivity down. You need to be very careful and cautious about it and create a new culture, a culture where existing way of doing things is always under review. Every 3 months, you're checking and asking yourself, how can we get better? How can we shorten processes? How can we get better with our customers? How can we shorten, our lead time, our demand planning, everything? How can we change it? Because the environment changes. Your method must change as a leader every day. The environment we work in changes. Our customers change, shareholders change, competitors change. So the way you do things must always do what? Always change. The next for leadership, courage, is decide without full certainty. Decide without full certainty. You see, analysis is very important. Analysis is very important. But we cannot have analysis, and wear them as professional costume. At some point, we are scared to make these decisions, and then everything, so let's analyze before. As a leader, you act on the best value available information. You act on the best available information at your fingertips. You act on them. You are not waiting for perfect time or the perfect information, because waiting for them, you might lose opportunity and say, let's do analysis, let's do this, and before we act. No, you don't have to be biased to action. It is needless. Act based on what you feel, your gut feeling sometimes. Have information is better than waiting for 2 years for a full information. You can decide without full certainty. That is leadership, who is very courageous. It is willing to move and knowing you correct it as you go ahead. It is willingness to move. Let's start tomorrow morning. Let's engage. If you have 10 projects, let's start with the first one. The second one, we will engage and find out how we can be. The next on being courageous is holding people accountable. Holding people accountable. You need to be free, fair, firm, without personal fear, without taking sides. You need to be very bold in taking those decisions. You see, this is what most managers avoid. Most managers or most leaders avoid this conversation, holding people accountable or being firm or being fair without having personal fear of what people think about it. These are people, in my last presentation, I call them the hens, the mother hens. They want to be, I want to play safe. I don't want to tap everybody. No. Avoiding accountability is betrayal of the team. Avoiding accountability is betrayal of the team, because some people by nature they will be accountable. Others by nature they will never be accountable. So you need to hold everybody together. The high performance on your team, they are watching you every day. They are watching you on how you handle others who are underperformers or who are not performing. So you need to be very courageous. Every time you avoid having that conversation, you erode the trust of the people and doing the right work. You erode that trust. People will not be able to come clean, right? The next is protect long-term value. We don't, as a leader, your job is not for shortcuts. It's not for short gains. As a leader, it's not for short gains. Courageous leaders resist short-term temptation. It will comprise with some short-term gains. You come and say, if I do this, we'll be able to achieve this. Your focus is long-term. This might mean saying no to a new target that will require cutting corners. It will come at some short period, and all that you do is because of pressure, you are always saying yes to it. No, you must be a long-term minded person. Long-term minded person, because legacy must come after you. You must create some legacy. When you leave, people must attribute some gains to you. It's not when you come 6 months down the line, everything that you built eroded. That is not what happens in leadership with courage. So leader, you must have courage to make sure that you're pushing extremely well. You must have time and courage to push well. Our next is a slide that I call the truth of the matter. All right. I'm saying that courage is not the absence of fear. It is deciding that something else is more important. whatever you must do, you must ensure that it's more important than the fear. Fear doesn't bring anything. Fear doesn't do anything. You must show that there are so many important things that you need to achieve. Every courageous leader feels fear. We all go through it. The best leader you know feels the fear, but the courageous one acts in deciding that something is important. The team, the mission, the standards, the truth, they are all important than just what he feels. They are all important than what he feels. I know when he put this in political context, it changed the whole conversation. So we stay on corporate environment, on leadership. You need to be very courageous and bold, right? We all understand that, look, trust plus courage in leading teams brings high performance. Trust plus courage in leading teams brings huge performance. Not trust alone, not courage alone. They're both together. They must work together. Trust without courage is a comfortable team, right? And they will definitely underperform. That is where, if you have trust and courage joined together, it's a masterpiece. It is where people will grow. They create the condition for breakthrough. They create the condition that every team member can be a lead member. It takes the team from one level to another level. That's where we find leaders being very candid, having resilient, accountable. They work very fast. They trust each other. They don't hold any project back, right? I want to share Microsoft's story, right? We all know the CEO. I think 2022, he quoted and said, let me give you 3 real examples of this working at scale. That's what he stated. He says Microsoft was stagnant. Internally, there was competitive, there was cultural toxic. He diagnosed the leadership in their own capacity, and asked themselves, how can we innovate? His prescription was very simple. It wasn't a new strategy. It wasn't something new. He says it was just a cultural transformation built on trust. So his quote tells you everything our industry does not respect. What's tradition? It only respects innovation, and innovation requires trust. So that was what they did. They didn't build a 5-year plan. They didn't build a 10-year plan. They didn't go into strategy session. All they did is, why don't we build on trust? And the results was significant. The results, as you can see, what he did specifically, replace know it all to learn it all culture. That's all they did. Few people know it all. Now it's open to everybody. Everybody knows it. Everybody feel free and they want to share. Everybody in the business feel free. They trusted everybody to learn themselves. They trusted everybody to learn themselves. They moved from just the leaders being strong-headed to vulnerable leadership. Vulnerability is key. That people say, okay, what can we do as leaders? How can you help us as leaders? And that's it. And we could see the numbers going up. We could see employee engagement moving up 43%. Trust score moving up the ladder. They doubled their business, moving from a 300 million to 3 point something trillion. Everything went up just because they started trusting. They are not the only people. Netflix also did the same thing. They also moved on trust. What can they do to make sure trust is built? The CEO says that it's not about the PEC, it's not about the freebies that they want to give to the people. It is not the powerful insights they have, but it's just about trusting people. When you want to bring a team member on, make sure the team member is trusting. The person can be trusted. And that is what changed them. When you look at their performance as well, amazing performance. They also saw a big transformation. Employee engagement was on, no approval for vacations. Look, self-leadership, because they trusted everybody. People become very responsible. All strategic information was shared across the organization. People were very accountable, low performance, exit very fast. You yourself, you can realize that this environment is not helping and the person will leave. This is what transformation can do. Another one from courage leadership. Many years ago, the people who have lived in the US realized this happened where the CEO by then decided that, say, look, I'm closing 7,100 shops across the United States just to retrain them again. Just retrain them again. Short term, they lost because the shop were closed. I want to imagine this 1,700 outlets on their daily revenues was lost. But end of the day, when training was done, people were retrained, the revenue that it lost came back. It built, public, confidence again. So it's important as a leader, you need to be very courageous and take these bold decisions. I want to believe people in the boardroom have asked, are you kidding me? 7,100 plus times maybe $10,000 that we make in a day in all our outlets. How much is it going to be? So the lesson clearly tells us that courage to prioritize the brand standard over short-term revenue. Trust in the team to deliver after investment. You need to be very courageous to make some bold decisions that will enhance long-term value. We all know how people have been very bold, especially in the automobile industry, where CEOs have recalled cars, televisions, they have recalled, handsets, they have recalled. Short-term revenue loss, but long-term confidence based on the courage of leadership to ensure that we move on to the next level. Toyota also has the same thing, where they've given the courage to every individual in the organization. Every worker working in Toyota can pull his hand up and say, look, let's stop this production because I found out this is the issue. What can you do? Anybody in there, courage is given, not from only the CEO who has the courage to call the shots, but every member of the organization has the power to call the shot. Trust in the front line. This is not just a trust that is being built, but it's a resource that you can enjoy in the organization, that everybody in there is prioritizing quality over speed. Every time they do something, they think about quality over speed. And you know it already. By the results, Toyota has become a gold standard for manufacturing across the globe, because anybody in the business has the power to call out quality issues. That's courage. Anybody in the organization has the courage to call for quality issues, right? I want to share this slide. I got it from a friend of mine who did a training some time back, and I want to share this. After that, I have built mine, and it talks about it like a pyramid. We have the breakthrough, and then we have the metrics that we need to, with the courageous metrics that we need to use. So these are 4 areas. Let me just take you through those areas. We have the toxic control, that is low trust and low courage. The leaders don't have courage, they don't trust the leader. It is a very toxic control environment. These will collapse the business. It's a danger zone. It's a deep danger zone that we need to look out for. The next one, it's the comfort zone, where we have high trust, low courage. People trust each other, all right, but we don't have courage to call out, behaviors that are not right, or behaviors that are not warranted, unproductive behaviors. We are not able to call them. That is another very dangerous area. It's a very warm culture. Everybody's excited. We want to avoid hard truth. You can't look at each other in the face and speak the truth to whoever it is. It feels good. We will perform below target, right? The fear-driven environment or execution environment is where we have low trust and high, courage. Leaders are, they are on point, they are firing, they are pushing everybody, but people don't trust them. People don't trust their judgment. Those areas, we make bold moves, all right, but a team does not believe in the leader. Commitment level is extremely 0. The high performance area is what we have with the high trust. We have the high courage. And our job is to be very candid, very resilient, accountable, and face the music when we need to face the music. That is high performance. Everybody is well. When it comes to us speaking about performance, we speak about it. When it talks about we having that trust and building rapport with our teams, we also do that. The next one talks about the metrics. Out of my learnings from my colleagues, I built this one, where we have the cohesive one, low, and then low trust, low courage. It's an area that nobody wants to. You shouldn't even try to be, right? We have the pleasing, where it's high trust, low courage. We have the heroic. Yes, one man soldier or 1 man thousand is the one leading. People don't trust him. He just make commands and that's it. But the breakthrough area where people must grow, people must enjoy, people must see high performance is where we have high trust and high performance leadership going, right? High courage, high trust, right? I want to share something. Anytime I go, somebody asks me for call to action, what we need to do. Probably this will be the last slide that we can talk about it, have a very good conversation and questions. One of my mentees who lives in Jamaica spoke to me after I did a presentation in Rwanda and said, I want something to take home, right? So the first one is diagnose and declare. As a leader, you need to be very vulnerable. You need to understand where you are. Do not think you are the superhero. You need to understand where you are. I will run the team test on trust audit to make sure that at least the test or the survey that you do is talking about how people trust you. It should be anonymous because we all know that people are scared when it's a survey that is measurable and can be traced to someone who said it. Let it be anonymous. It can be a Google Doc. Let people give you the scale of 1 to 5 how they trust you. That would let you know the areas. Give them time to type, a place to type. Then you build or identify your top 3 trust destroying behaviors that you have, right? Maybe you say a word today, tomorrow you're changing. You see everybody come to work at 8 and you are getting there at 8:35. You say the bus is moving at 10 a.m. and eventually you're the one who delayed the bus to 11. You need to check the behaviors, why people don't trust you, right? You need to pick one and have a conversation that you've been avoiding to have. You need to pick it and have a conversation, right? Or pick one courageous conversation that you're avoiding to have. These are the things that you need to do this month. Then you build the second part of it. This slide is shared already, so the team can share with you, but you can go back, play it, and take your time and build it gradually. The next 31 to 60 days is build and practice, all right? And the 61 to 90 days is embed and scale up. That is where, you become very courageous. People trust you. You start working on yourself to make sure that you become a very good leader on what you do. It is critically important that as leader, we always go ahead and learn. A leader who does not pick a trait every year and say, look, I want to get better, I want to understand where I need to do, it becomes an issue. It becomes an issue. You need to measure and say that, oh, this is it. I am doing pretty well, and I think I can, I need to grow or I should grow. Part of my last comment is trust builds the team, but courage moves them forward. Trust builds a team. You can ask any football team, trust builds a team, and courage moves them forward. Both are hard, both are learnable, both are the highest leverage investment you can ever have as a leader. Both are the tools that you need to make sure that it gets you to the next level. The leader who masters this does not have a better team. They have teams that can change organizations. So you need to ensure that at least both of them are things that you're doing, you are learning to make sure that you have trust of the team and then courage to move them forward. Caution here is that people mistake trust being, a mother hen of the organization. It is not. Try as much as possible to make sure that at least you have the best of both worlds. People trust you. Your yes is your yes, your no is your no, and people trust you that you can move them forward. When things get tough, we have a courageous leader who take them to the next level. They have a courageous leader who take them to the next level. Trust is built in small moments. Those small moments, that's where trust is built. It's not when a leader, somebody confide in you something, the next minute you come and destroy it. Trust is built in small moments. It's not the large ones that we all say that, let me do something and trust. No, the small moments. The small moment. Courage is a practice, not personality trait. It's a practice. Constant practice and say, I want to take this move. I want to make this move. I am standing by this word as a leader. I'm saying we should do this. If it comes and nothing happens, I will face the rhythm. I will lift my hand and be vulnerable and say, it is my mistake. That is what leadership is. It's not just about personality. Your team ceiling is your leadership floor. Wherever the team is, that is where your floor comes to play. So you need to understand this is just not enjoying as a leader, but you need to ensure that you have trust, and then you can build leadership ahead of you. I genuinely hope that this has been useful. It's not just a session that I want to have, but I think that it's a prompt to go back to do the things that you need to do differently this week. I'm happy to take questions, and you prefer to continue this conversation. Let's connect every time. Thank you very much, Joy. I want to end it here.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I've been writing and writing and writing, and I'm sure I've even lost track of, but I have to come back and watch this again. Thank you so much, Essien, for giving us these nuggets. I think we'll just dive straight into just a few highlights for me. How to build trust. But I think this presentation is a clarion call to all leaders.
Yeah,
And for us as CTL, we know that leadership is not just the one with the position, but for everyone who is really looking to achieve something and to influence and make impact. I think this presentation is a clarion call because for me, when you talked about defining the goal, defining the destination, and I love the Marines picture that you use because from the many movies that I've seen, when you see them building strategy for a particular goal, they can literally replicate the entire building that they are sending the Marines to go and fight. And
I
so
love that.
there's no doubt about what I'm going to achieve. I can actually go to the target site blindfolded, and my goal is very clear. They might not tell you the person you're going to kill, but
Yeah,
it's so vivid, and I love that way, that tactic of actually making sure your goal is clear. Most of the time, we think people know what they are supposed to do, but
yeah,
this is the foundation that you've set for us. That the clarity of our team builds that foundation. Then mobilizing people for alignment. That talks about commitment, and then driving execution, building the tracking, the follow up, and the accountability. And then the sweet spot between these three is what you talk about. That's the results happen when clarity meets belief, sustained by disciplined execution. This week I was in a session where the leader so there was supposed to be some reporting, and a section of the teams haven't submitted their reports. And this has been a month of reminders and all of that. And when the head of, the person collating the report shared, he just put a small remark in his, okay, these are the people who haven't submitted. But he didn't call it out loud. The leader said, no, no, no. Let's come back. Where is the head of this? Where is the head of this unit? Where's the head of this unit? And he paused the meeting for us to acknowledge. So when you said accountability, I mean that was very powerful because he called them out and said, okay, no, I want to know why you couldn't send your report after so many,
yeah,
because then all the other 20 something teams that have sent their reports, they have something to hold on to, that when I don't send it, it brings the team down. And he boosted our confidence. He boosted the trust we have in leadership, that if I don't do it, I will be held accountable. Most of the
exactly.
time we let it slide, so very, very powerful nugget shared. And then one of my takeaways is also the economic value and the impact of having a high trust environment, with the numbers that you shared. Most of the time what I hear leaders say is, if we don't control it, the Ghanaian people, they will take things for granted. And and my question is, what if you try it? Because somebody has tried it. Somebody
Yeah,
has removed approval process. It's not like
yes,
the approval process will make your company, but just think about it deeply. Weighing where you are and the results you want to achieve versus this thing you call control that sits in between you and the results you're trying to achieve. Why don't you give it a try?
yeah,
Why don't you give it a try and see what the outcomes are? then you can maybe make some learnings from there. But I think these were really great. And then how to build, you talked about integrity and ethical conduct. John Maxwell
Yeah,
always said that trust is the foundation of leadership. If you're out of trust, you're out of
that's
leadership.
it.
That's it. And then talk about competence. You must believe, they must believe you can deliver results. And I was
Yeah,
just thinking, looking through my team, and I'm like, they, I brought this sponsor on board. I'm pulling this string. They begin to feel like, yeah, Charlie, we are not in a dark place. Our leader is able to pull things
yeah,
and get us through. So that resonated for me, and I have to do more at building that competence, and then reliability. Oh my goodness, keeping your word. I think that it's something that I've been practicing. It's not something that comes naturally. You say,
yeah.
oh, Charlie, I'll give you a call in 5 minutes. You didn't
Sure.
really mean 5 minutes. You meant I'll give you a call soon. But then I've come to realize that even making that statement and not following up to say, oh, sorry, I meant to call you, but something has come up. It's something that I'm personally practicing, and that
Mm.
builds your reliability as a leader. On and on and on. I'd love to hear what you guys picked, what you learned. Albert, let me pick something from the comments as well. Albert says, okay, he's already jumped into the questions. All right. So let me pick Cynthia's comments, and then I come back to Albert. So this is her ladyship, Cynthia Martison, who says, splendid presentation. God bless you, Stephen. And then yeah, the questions are already open, so let me not even belabor the points. Let's get into the questions, and I'm sure a lot more will come up. But please share your learnings with us. It's been an amazing presentation so far. So Albert says, why do organizations hiring ratio usually tilted to the skilled over trust? Stephen, that's
So,
for you.
right, Joy. I mean, first of all, the core job, there's a core job while you're being employed,
Yeah.
right? Trust, being courageous, being smart, being a team player are attributes you need to support the skill, right? So we can't say that we want somebody to be a nurse, but we're employing somebody with trust without a skill. That
Mm-hmm.
is very dangerous. So these are attributes. There are few attributes. And when I sit on an interview panel, your skill must be at a level. I don't need somebody who is super, super skillful.
Mm-hmm.
One organizations we say we recruit attitude, we don't recruit talent.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have the talent. You can't say that there's no talent at all.
Yeah.
So the skill is important, but these are attributes that we look. So we want to act on trust. I mean, this is a joke that people make. The skit that comes on TV these days. They put some money somewhere. Two people are going for an interview, and they will pick it and who. These are just to check the attributes that we have. Because if we don't trust you, we can't work with you. You can be the most skillful footballer, skillful, IT person, but people
Mm-hmm.
don't trust you. Can't work in there. So,
Mm-hmm.
Albert, the skill comes first, and then trust, and other many other attributes also supports the skill. So we can't
Yeah.
employ trust without the skill. The skill will take you there,
Mm-hmm.
but trust and attitude will bring you out. So
Mm.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Stephen, so there's this concept of please keep your questions coming through. We have Stephen just for a few more minutes before we wrap up. There's this concept. I don't know if you've heard of the good to great concept that talks about when you hire, who first and the what. And I'm looking at the what you shared by defining the vision, and then you have your team mobilizing them towards that vision, versus the concept of you hire or you mobilize, and then they begin to maybe define where to go. I just wanted to pick your thoughts on those two, because it becomes very controversial sometimes when we share that model also. So I'd love to hear
Yeah.
what you think about that. Yeah.
Just on today is Saturday, so Thursday. Yesterday we didn't work, so Thursday I had a group of people in my office, and we were discussing orientation from some organization compared to what we had. And I was telling them one of the leaders I work with employed me and asked me to speak to 5 people.
Mhm.
I got to speak to those 5 people with a notebook. When I got back, she asked me what did they say about her. I said everything, and it says go and develop your own orientation, go and develop everything, go and develop your plan, and no orientation, just find your feet. Right?
Mm.
Some areas. if the leader wants to lead from the back, he allows the team to find their own purpose, their own plan. That's why I mentioned that it's a decision to make whether you want to lead from the front or lead from the back. Leaders who normally want to lead from the back will give you the vision and leave you to find your feet. But leaders who always want to be in the front, by the time you come, objective is there, the milestones are already built, and tell you what. Some leaders want to come and just support. Joy, where are we today? What have we done today? What do you think we should do? Keep quiet and listen to you for 30 minutes and say, that's good. Go and continue. Or we have leaders who call and say, Joy, the project tomorrow, I need you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in both worlds, it's very good. I love where people find their own feet. It brings the team together. The cohesion among the team, their commitment towards it, their commitment towards the project or whatever they come, it is great because they feel like this is us. It is not the leader who told us. So this is us. I have seen a flyer of Rwanda. If the leader comes and say, Joy and team, we need to go to Rwanda in June. So guys, sort it out. You are excited. You are building the team. You are finding the hotels. You wake up and there's energy for something to do. But if somebody has come and say, okay, we're going to Rwanda, the date is this day, I've spoken to this hotel, this is the venue, so go and chase them. You are reluctant. That works. But if they give you and you yourself need to sit down and want to build everything from scratch, you want to protect it with your blood. You are excited about it. You want to protect it and say, this is me. You know how people leagues and they're happy because everybody's effort is in it. I've seen project teams that after project, people are seated and crying. Not because the project, because their sweat was in. From design stage, from strategy building to everything, it goes there. So leaders must know themselves, know the team, and what they need to do. There's a plus and minus to it. If you have a team who are not self-initiators, they are not self-leaders, they are not creative thinkers or innovative, you need to be very careful. You need to show them the way and let them lead. But when you have a place where you feel the team is very matured and they know what to do, they can magnify your vision, your small vision, they can make it big. That's how you need to lead them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I think it helps to put that in perspective. You also have to know your people. So to determine whether you go with the defining and setting everything and then letting them come into the picture. We have Oluwatoyin who says, excellent one, sir. Trust builds the team and courage moves it. Thank you for sharing your learnings with us. Maybe finally, maybe a question on courage. You mentioned that courage is not the absence of fear, and it's something that you do daily. If I had to start from scratch, I'm actually scared of taking a bold move. How would you advise me to build, maybe whether it's a shock absorbers or how do I build courage? I have the fear. I want to take the bold move. And I know it's, maybe you can say just do it, like the Nike slogan, but if there's something somebody who is just starting out and has really struggled to take bold decisions for a very long time, so they seem to be stagnating, how can they at least build maybe an ounce of courage to start with?
Yeah. Yes, Joy. One of the key things you do is we overestimate where we are and estimate what we're going to get from the decision we're taking, right? The question I ask myself, if you don't take that decision, what happens? If you take that decision, what happens? What is the greater good in that decision you're taking compared to what you're not doing? So take that decision. What we fear, it's what's going to happen. The aftermath. And I did a training some years back. I don't know whether it's this platform where I spoke about the ripple effect of decision making, right? I asked the question, how big is your stone, right? So if you stand by a river and you drop a pebble of stone, the ripples don't go far. But
Yeah.
if it's a heavy decision,
Mm.
if my
Yeah.
organization want to make a decision about some 10,000 Ghana cedis, I will not blink. I'll make that decision.
Yeah.
I'll not blink because what's the impact? Impact is just 10,000 Ghana cedi, right?
Mm.
I'll not blink. I'll make that impact. If my organization is making a multi-million dollar decision, then I
Mm.
need to think about it. I hope you understand. So it
Yeah.
depends on the decision and the ripple effects of the organization. If you do
Mm.
not start making those ripple effects, those pebble decisions,
Mm.
and make it perfect, or if it goes wrong, you correct yourself. You can never make
Yeah.
big decisions.
Mm.
So you look at the pebble or you look at the stone size
Yeah.
of the decision before you decide.
Mm.
I can't foresee a national service person deciding on the fate of organization with like about 50,000 Ghana cedis. No. But if it's
Yeah.
something that we need to do, and probably it's a signing or something, or I can make a decision. So, hold, my boss is coming to do something. You must judge it yourself and see, if I do this, the company can collapse. If I do this, we can be sued. If I do this, we might lose the customer. I don't do it. But if I do this and it goes bad, nothing happens. It's just some small CD that we lost. But
Yeah.
I'll take lessons from it.
Mm.
So first of all, is look. I'll ask the question: how big is the stone?
Mm.
The stone that will drop on the business, how big it is. If
Yeah.
it's just a drop, nothing will happen. You just get some warning letter, you just get some, verbal caution, and you learn from your mistakes. So
Yeah.
take decisions, take decisions, take
Yeah.
decisions. I mean, I ran home. I was with one, prominent person in Ghana, and then a decision was made this morning on his behalf,
Mm.
and now they need to take the check from him to go and pay for that decision. So I kept quiet. The thing just struck me. I kept quiet, looking. So when he saw
Mm.
the check, he was like, "Why this amount?" And he said, "Oh, this morning you had this session, and this happened, and we
Mm.
we needed to make a quick
Yeah.
decision to remedy the situation before. So we did that and we paid. That's why." You just look at the guy and say, "You are very smart. You're a very sensible guy. Good job."
Mm.
If the guy didn't do it, like,
Mm.
everything is blown up,
Yeah.
the situation has gone bad.
Mm.
But if it's a decision with about 500,000, I don't think the guy could have made that
Yeah.
decision. He would have waited for whatever happens to happen.
Yeah.
But it's a decision of, let's say, how much was that? I think it's 30,000 or 40,000. He
Mm.
made that decision without blinking.
Yeah. Right.
So look at the size of the impact before you make that decision. Yeah.
Mm. Awesome. That's very, very good practice. And I think for anybody trying to build that muscle, you can also start making decisions on a certain level, and then you can start increasing your stone size. And I see Rosalind
Yes.
Pratt has also put it in the comment section. How big is
How
your
big-
stone? Yes, awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, this has been a really good deep discussion, and I think that if you have any last question, we'll share some announcements. But if you have any last thoughts, please share that with us before we go.
Well, thank you, Joy. I've really enjoyed myself. I mean, I want to send my regards to my big brother, Mr. Enim, and then Sarah as well. I mean, I had to rush home. The whole day has been tight for me, but I said I can't miss this. I'll make time for this. So, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for everybody listening to us. This is always a good opportunity to learn and teach. Yeah, I've really enjoyed myself, and of course, you being in the chair, you make moderation or moderating very easy, as if we are learning how to do the business. Thank you so much, Joy. I really enjoy myself. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Essien, for your time. And I hope everybody you found it so useful. Today we're wrapping up our session. But before we go, just a few quick announcements on what's happening in CTL. Last week, Mr. Yim shared with us one of our exciting flagship programs that's coming your way, and we call it the LDEX 2026 Executive Leadership Development Experience, and we're going to Kigali, Rwanda. So we want to encourage leaders. Sometimes when you move out of your immediate zone, you move out of the familiar environment, into a place that challenges you, into a place that they're doing things differently, it begins to move the needle for you. So there's cultural elements in there, the food, the cuisine. It's a fully packed 5-day experience in Rwanda. And please visit our website, www.ctlafricaleadership.com, and you can register right there on our website. It's very limited slots, and we're looking for you. Please speak to your team, for CEO, C-suite executives, your high performers, your top talents where you want to inspire them. Please use this as an experience or a vehicle for them to inspire them to do more. Okay, so that's all we have for you by now. So if you need any services for training, coaching, please reach out to CTL as always, and we'll be there to support you. We wish you an incredible rest of the weekend and all the best in the week. We'll see you again next week, Saturday, for another episode of the Leadership Platform. My name is Joy Schmutz, and it's been a pleasure to host you. Enjoy your night and see you next week. Bye-bye. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do that now.